Stories whispered, lessons shown on this channel. If I had known.
If I had known. I was not born to create something that would echo across the world. I was just a man trying to survive. My name is Mikhail Kalashnikov, and before anyone knew me as an inventor, I was a soldier, one among many, standing in the uncertainty of war, where every day felt like it could be the last. War has a way of stripping life down to its simplest truths. You think about survival. You think about your comrades. You think about whether the tools in your hands will fail you when it matters most. I remember the day everything changed for me. I was wounded. The pain was real, but it was not what stayed with me the most. What stayed with me was what I saw around me. Weapons failing in the middle of battle, soldiers struggling with tools that were supposed to protect them. I lay there, recovering, but my mind refused to rest. I kept asking myself one question. Why should a soldier die because his weapon failed him? That question became my purpose. I was not a trained engineer. I did not have advanced education. But I had something else, determination. I began to imagine a weapon that would not fail. Something simple. Something strong. Something that could survive the harshest conditions: mud, cold, rain, chaos. I worked with what I had. I learned as I went. I made mistakes, corrected them, and tried again. Day after day, night after night. I wasn't thinking about the world. I was thinking about the soldier next to me. I was thinking about protection. And then, it finally came together. The design that would later be known as the AK-47. At the time, it did not feel like something that would change history. It felt like a solution, a tool, a way to give soldiers a better chance to survive. I remember feeling proud, not in a loud way, but quietly. The kind of pride that comes from solving a problem that mattered. I believed I had done something good. And maybe, in that moment, I had. But life does not end at the moment of creation. That is only the beginning. I could not see the future. I could not see how far my invention would travel. I could not see the hands it would pass through, the places it would reach, the conflicts it would become part of. At first, it was used as intended, by soldiers, in war, for defense. But then it spread. Beyond borders. Beyond control. Beyond intention. The AK-47 became more than a weapon. It became everywhere. In places I had never seen. In conflicts I did not understand. In the hands of people whose purposes were far from protection. And with that spread came something I never truly prepared myself for. Loss. Not the kind of loss you feel in a single moment, but the kind that exists in numbers so large they become difficult to comprehend. Lives. So many lives. There are moments in life when you are forced to face a truth you cannot escape. For me, that truth was this. Something I created to protect had also been used to destroy. I did not pull the trigger. I did not choose the battles. And yet, I could not completely separate myself from what my creation had become. That is a heavy thing to carry. People often want simple answers. Was I proud? Was I guilty? The truth is, I felt both. I was proud of the work, the design, the resilience, the solution it provided. But I could not ignore the reality of how it had been used. And that is where the conflict lives. Sometimes, I sit in silence and let my thoughts speak freely. And when they do, they always return to the same place. If I had known that this simple design would travel across the world, if I had known it would be used in conflicts far beyond my imagination, if I had known it would become part of so many stories of loss, would I have done things differently? It is a question without an answer. Because the man I was back then did not have the knowledge I have now. Back then, I saw a problem. I wanted to fix it. That is all. Life does not give us the ability to see the full consequences of our actions before we take them. We move forward with limited understanding. We create based on need, on purpose, on intention. And then, the world takes what we create and shapes it in ways we cannot control. That is the part no one prepares you for. The moment when your work is no longer yours. I have come to understand something over time. An invention is not just a creation. It is a responsibility, not only in how it is designed, but in how it might be used. And yet, there is a limit to what one person can control. The world is vast. People are complex. Intentions are different. What is created for protection can be used for harm. What is built with purpose can be used without it. That is not an easy truth to accept, but it is a real one. If there is one thing I wish I had understood earlier, it is this. The impact of what you create may go far beyond your original intention, farther than you can see, farther than you can imagine. And once it begins, you may not be able to stop it. I am often remembered for what I created, the AK-47. But behind that name is a human story. A soldier who wanted to protect others. A man who solved a problem. A creator who later had to face the full weight of his creation. That is the part people do not always see. If I could speak to the world, not as an inventor, but simply as a man, I would say this. Think deeply about what you create. Not just for today, but for tomorrow. Because what seems like a solution now may become something much larger later. And once it does, you may find yourself asking the same question I still carry. If I had known. But life does not move backward. It only moves forward. And so we learn. We reflect. We carry our stories. And we hope that those who come after us will see further than we did. That is my story. Not of invention alone, but of realization. Not of pride alone, but of weight. And above all, of a question that will never fully leave me. If I had known. Thank you for choosing If I Had Known, where you get life-changing stories. This story is not about glorifying weapons, but about understanding how even good intentions can lead to unexpected consequences. Do not miss the next episode. Ciao.